Hello, what's going on, guys? Let me get my music set up. Let's see. Okay. So that's going. Hi, guys. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. All right. I don't have Jared here with me today, so let me know how my levels are and everything like that. If my audio needs to be adjusted, I'll be relying on your guys' feedback. So please let me know if I need to adjust things. Welcome, Rough Sketches, Ice Princess, and Shar. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit more for me. Awesome. And my stuff is just in the way, and that's just how it's gonna be. Okay. Hi, Kitchen. I did go and get my my iced matcha latte. I tried to go to this boba tea place that I really like. It's really close by my house. And as I was on my way there was like a crazy amount of traffic, and I just thought, okay, well, this is LA. But there was some sort of incident because there were a bunch of police cars, and there were like helicopters overhead, and none of the traffic was moving. And this place was like less than a mile from my house, so there's really no reason that I would get stuck in a traffic jam, except that it's LA, and that's what happened. So I just turned around and went a different direction. I went to the Starbucks, which was not my first choice, but it was a more convenient choice, and I wanted to get back here. So today I'm going to be wrapping up the last few things that I want to do on this piece before this breastplate gets assembled. And things are going to actually happen in a different order because I need to paint it before assembling it. Because these are going to be totally separate colors, it's just easier that way. I don't have to mask it off. I can paint them separately and then assemble it. I just need to make sure that I leave a little bit unpainted around the outside so that I can get a nice hold with the adhesive. So I want to be working on this today. I have a little bit more detail to add to the center panel, and I had some thoughts about how I want to do it that is different than what I've done so far on this project. And let me dig through my tools and see what I need for this. Oh, I tried to get another leather pen. Piston Liz, hello. Soul Heika, hello. Eternal Astra, hello, welcome everyone. I tried to get another leather pen and the store was out, so I'm like stuck with these dry ass pens, and hopefully can make this work for today. But I think it'll be okay. I only have a little bit of details to mark. Oh, and I had a pattern piece for this. My stuff is kind of all over the place because I wasn't really prepared to stream today or at all. I took yesterday off, but today I thought, I really need to get some more stuff done. Oh. Where are we? I think I no longer have the original pattern for this because it was just a mess, so I transferred it. That's fine. I'll just have to redraw this little portion of it. So in the front and center of this breastplate, there is like a red section that has like a little scalloped edge to it, and so I need to just mark those boundaries, and then I decided to do a little bit of tooling to make the red panel be at a different level than the rest of the gold, which is going to make up the rest of this whole piece. So what I mean by that is that currently what I have right here is two different layers of leather. I have the boob layer, let's say, and then the boob cage layer that sits outside of that. And this will be white and this will be gold as per our reference image. Oh great, I have that on autofocus, sorry. I don't know how to make my own adjustments. I did a little bit, but whatever. So these are going to be at different levels, and all of the gold right now is, I have these lines that are dividing it up, but what I've done that with a grooving tool. I didn't do that with actual like tooling with a words are escaping me today, sorry guys. With the swivel knife or the beveler or anything like that, I just did grooves to create all of these borders. And so they're kind of shallow. And while they're definitely going to serve our purposes, especially once I get some paint in them, they'll like become a little bit more vibrant and you'll be able to see it better. But basically, I thought about it and I decided that I wanted this red section to be like sunk down lower than the rest of the surrounding pieces, or at least to visually perceive it that way. And so I'm going to do that by actually cutting the lines with the swivel knife and then using the beveling tool on them. And I think that it will add just a little bit of depth, both literally and figuratively, to this piece. So that's what I was up late thinking about last night, which is that I want to do tooling, and I want to do a little bit of a different approach to it than what I have already done so far with this breastplate. Hopefully that makes sense. Madeline, thank you for the compliment on my hair. This is how it looks when I just get out of the shower and do nothing with it, except for my bangs. All right, so with that little talkative introduction, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I had originally drawn it onto my pattern piece, but I think I discarded that without copying it onto this one, which is a shame. But that's where we are, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. So this piece belongs here. Once again, I'm making my marks on my pattern piece and not the actual work itself, so that I have the ability to mirror it perfectly, and also just so that if I make a mistake, it's not going to be like a permanent part of the leather that I've already cut out. Actually, to do this appropriately, I'm first going to draw my little boundaries, which is 1/4 of an inch, or should be, yes, totally. And I need an actual mechanical pencil. So I'm just marking this distance out as a visual aid so that my lines will be placed appropriately and I don't have to like guess to try to smooth it out. Oh, everyone's talking about how it's late where they are. Oh no. Well, here it is only like 5:45 about. As I mentioned previously, Jared is not currently at home with me, and it's made me really sluggish and unproductive, because usually when he's here, he's busy doing things, and that motivates me to work just because I know that he's also working. Today he's off playing Magic the Gathering, and I am just like not getting nearly as much done as I was when he was around, but that's fine. That's something that I need to step up and figure out. Okay, I need to make it on the other side too. Yeah, Jared is out playing Magic the Gathering. I have no idea how he's doing, or like what days the main events are on, but you know, he seems to be having a good time, so I'm glad that he has an opportunity to go and do something fun for himself, because he does not take time for himself very much. He's much more diligent than I am in general, so you know, it's good for him, but it's bad for me because I'm not good at keeping myself focused. So this needs the little scallop lines. It's like sort of close to halfway through. I'm just gonna put it at halfway through because that's what is gonna make me the happiest. What I'm talking about is the center point of this scallop, or this divider between the two scallops. Sarah Mahith. Okay, sorry. Sarah Mahee, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the leather crafting stream. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. That's what I do all the time, but I try my best. So correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I am going to divide this directly down the center because that's what's going to make me the happiest. And I'm just putting a little dash mark to help myself. Is that placement fine? I think it might need to be a little bit closer to the corner here. Also, I guess halfway is somewhat subjective, considering that these are both curves. Like, they don't have an obvious reference point for halfway. But that's where I'm putting it, and I'm going to be happy with that, I think. Yes. Jared was actually texting me today saying, you know, just force yourself to stream. You'll be happier afterwards. And I think he's right. So here I am, forcing myself to stream. Hello, Bad Faith. Celica saying that they make a goal timeline to keep them focused. I have a planner that I update intermittently, but I'm just not that good at being really diligent about that in general. Like either the physically updating it or even just checking it. But I know what my immediate goals are and, you know, what I need to do next, and I'm usually pretty on task, but not when Jared's gone. But I am enjoying my matcha. I think that's going to revive me. All right, I'm happy with this placement. Looking at it on here, I'm wondering if I need to like change the angle at all. Oh yeah, the way that it's drawn in this image looks a lot sharper, and I think it's prettier that way. So I'm gonna actually redraw that angle. Like a deeper, oh, that was ugly. To have the scallop be deeper at the center point than what I have drawn so far. It's kind of hard to tell at the angle that the main reference image is showing it from, but this other art book style is a little bit more obvious, a little bit easier to tell what's going on. Oh, it needs to still be. I'm gonna spend like 10 minutes erasing this line and drawing it over and over again. Hey, April, nice to see you here. She says, keeping you on while I'm working. It'll be like old times, lol. April is a friend of mine from Dallas, and we used to hang out and craft together. Nice to see you here, in a figurative sense. Oh. Hello, Lucy. Nice to see you too. Yeah, today's gonna be really chill. I don't know how much I'm gonna get done. I'm gonna try to start on this backplate so that I feel like I've accomplished something for today. Oh, I like that much better. I'm gonna try to get this backplate started. We'll see, but at the very least, I'm going to tool this and make some plans for the rest of it. Alright, so imagining this mirrored on the other side, like we're out here. I think that's pretty decent. I'm gonna adjust this curve here to be a little bit more like the one below it, but other than that, I'm going to go ahead and consider this a finished pattern. Shar went and locked her doors because it's dark in her house. I relate to this so much. I like sleep with a light on when Jared's gone because I get so creeped out. I don't like being alone or in the dark. So I've got your back, Shar. I hope that you feel safe in your house. Alright, just had to grab my little scissors. I'm just going to cut this out because that's how I'm going to handle it. And it'll make it really, really easy to trace. I feel like my eyes glaze over when I'm trying to like concentrate on something really detailed like this, and I don't want to get the wrong angle. Which I probably shouldn't use scissors to begin with, but that's how I'm doing it. There we go. Now I can place it here. We've got it lined up with the corner. And my leather pen has not failed me. It is still working just enough to give me the line that I need. I hope you guys can see that, but I can see it, which is what's important. Now from the other side, I've got my corner lined up and my center point. I'm satisfied with this. All right, that looks even to me. That looks great, in fact. And I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm gonna put a little bit of tape back on it so that I can keep my pattern and it will all be easy to find together. But I don't need to trace this again. I think I'm gonna make a digital version of the pattern and hold on to it. But just for the sake of having it all together, put a little bit of tape on it and then deal with that later. Modest Tomato, thank you for following. Welcome to our stream. It's going to be a chill, quiet stream today, probably. Oh, Modest Tomato also does leatherworking, according to their chat comments. That's awesome. Well, welcome here. Today I'm just going to be doing some really basic tooling, but I have made this entire breastplate on stream so far, including a couple other items, and I think I'm going to finish the rest of the costume on the stream as well. I wanted to kind of discuss that a little bit. I'm kind of getting to a point where I need to decide whether I want to finish this for Fandome and dedicate myself to finishing it and like just work on it as much as I can to get it done, which is in a few weeks from now, or if I want to make 100% of the costume on the stream, which I can do and I think would be really fun, but it's going to take me much, much longer than a Fandome deadline to do that if I'm like broadcasting every bit of my work streams. So, you know, I'm really not sure what I want to do yet, and I would love to hear some feedback from any of you guys here in the chat, as you guys are the ones who are actually, you know, watching these things. If you want to see 100% of this costume made on the stream, then that's definitely something I want to consider, because I like the pace of just working on these streams, just working on the project while I'm live on Twitch. But on the other hand, there's like always temptation to finish a new costume for a new con, and I'm excited about Fandome, so I don't know. I don't know what I want to do, and I need to make that decision really soon. So, yeah, I would love to hear some feedback on that. I'll probably pose that question tomorrow during the regular stream too, because that's when I think more people will be expecting it. But that's been on my mind. And I'm going to start tooling this. I need to grab some water from our little water dish that I went and finally dumped out. So let me go grab some more water and get started on that. reading some comments from people who are advocating for both sides. And like I said, I'm torn. I don't have a really strong opinion on it, or I would just do the thing that I want. Don't get me wrong. If I knew what I wanted, I would just do that thing. But I don't know what I want, which is why I am considering it and asking you guys for feedback. But I will say that I have really, really enjoyed the pacing of having these weekly streams, where I know that twice a week I'm going to dedicate a certain time to this project. And I think that's done a lot for me in terms of just like keeping me motivated and on task. And when I'm working solely on my own time and my own schedule, it's just not as fulfilling for me. I don't know. Maybe that's not entirely true. Like, almost like having the option to work on anything makes it harder for me to focus on the things that I really need to get done and the schedule that I really need to have. But anyway, that's probably a discussion for another time. I am putting some water on this, and then quickly, before my line disappears, I should have set this up first. Got my scrap leather here. I'm gonna rub it down with some Jeweler's Rouge. And then we'll get into this. This is a good jam. I like this song a lot. Okay, now dabbing with a little bit more water because I got overexcited there. I'm making small cuts from the center outward. It's probably a little bit hard to see because my hand is covering it. But there you are. The cuts that I'm making with this tool are much deeper than the grooving tool, which is why I'm doing it this way. I talked about wanting to have different layers to the costume, and so I'm trying to give the impression that this red section is inset into the gold piece. So that is why I'm doing it this way, and the effect that this is going to have is to just like physically put that red on a lower plane, or at least the impression that it is because of the way that the edges are set up. Even though technically the middle will be the same height as the rest of the gold section. It's sort of an optical illusion, I guess. Let me check back in on these comments. Everyone's saying, do what makes you the happiest, and I'm gonna have to strongly consider that. Maybe this is just a question for my personal reflection time. Modest Tomato, I'm not interested in selling things with retailers. If I were trying to do that, I would be doing things much more differently than what I'm currently doing. So yeah, I appreciate the tip, I do, but that's not what I'm actively doing. And this is honestly, this is much more than $300 worth of work. I appreciate that though. Julene002, hello, hi, nice to see you here. Nice to always have friends and familiar faces, so thank you. Thanks for coming by. Kitten, I'm not sure. I think that a poll would be a really good idea for tomorrow, because then I'll have more people. Oh, look, someone said that they'll eat my ass. It's a throwaway account. Great. No, I think I'll save a poll for tomorrow because that's when more people will be here. What am I doing? Band. Yay. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Yeah, sorry. I think I'm going to do a poll tomorrow when we have more of like the regular attendees, so to speak. So that way it'll be open to people who are here during like average streams. But otherwise, I would do that like I'd rather just pull the audience on Twitch rather than like Twitter or something. Loaderbot says, not every passion has to be made into money. That's true. And that's kind of the spirit I have with doing these projects, because if I were trying to make money, I would be doing it a lot differently. I would be doing lots of things that I'm not currently doing. So right now I'm going to just drag this blade along the groove that I've already made to add depth to it for when I bevel it. There we go. So this is the exact same line that was already existing. Okay. And once again, I'm continuing to sharpen this blade basically as I'm cutting so it doesn't get dull. I forgot to turn off my notification sound. Let me see if that was important or not. Oh, just regular notifications. Alright. Modest Tomato says they cut themselves with a razor knife during a project. Yeah, these blades are pretty sharp. You gotta be careful with it. I've been pretty fortunate to not injure myself too much, although my, I get a lot of worried comments on this stream from people who are like, be careful with the tools, and I am, but yeah. I think that while I'm at it, I'm gonna do a little bit of tooling around these swirls to make them a little bit more defined, because they're not very well defined currently. And I don't like it. I want them to be prettier. So that should be a pretty simple thing. That's just going to be more beveling. That's all I'm really doing here. I'm not exactly a tooling expert, I'll admit, but I am proficient with like the small, simple stuff. There we go. I'm a little bit slow with the knife, which is probably for the best. I'm going to put more water down on this. So yeah, once again, I'm just using the water to make this leather more malleable and to help me to create permanent impressions with these tools. Alright, there we go. I think that's as much of a swivel knife as we need to use. Just a tiny bit. But obviously with the water, the leather is a darker colored, but now that it's on autofocus, it'll actually focus on what I'm showing you guys. But as you can tell, these are the knife lines that I just made is a perimeter around this section plus these little curlies. And comparing these lines to all of the surrounding lines, you can see that they're deeper, I hope. And so next we're going to use a beveling tool to mush down all of the leather in the center section and make it look like it's beneath the rest of it. Safer Seraphim says, don't jinx it, Heidi. I guess referring to my, the fact that I haven't yet injured myself on stream. Well, thank you. I will be careful. Okay, so for the beveling tools, I have a number of different ones. These three, I'm pretty sure. I just picked up three that are all just about the same angle. Yeah, they are the same angle. These are, well, this one might be different. The point is, these are tools that are the same type of tool, they're just different sizes. In general, you want to use the biggest one that can get into your project, like the biggest one that will be suitable for your piece. You might need to use a smaller one to get around like tight curves, like I'll probably have to do that. Use a tiny one on these little bitty curves. But otherwise, it's better to use the larger tools because then it looks somewhat less lumpy overall. And where did I put my tiny anvil? Let me search down that tiny anvil, which can't have gone too far. And then I will begin this tooling process. Dang, I legitimately don't know where I put it. Oh, there it is. This whole table is a huge mess. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Like, as I progress on a project, my workroom just descends into chaos. And so that's how you know that I'm, like, balls deep in something big. Tiny anvil, it's here. My little bead buddy, tiny anvil. And all that it's really going to be doing for me is holding this leather down so that I have both hands to work with. And I don't have to waste a hand just holding this onto position. All right, so I'm lining this, the leading edge of this little beveling tool up with the line that I just cut. And I'm going to be tapping with my hammer and moving it along the line and beveling this edge as I tap. Let's see. Everyone's commenting on how adorable the anvil is. It's super adorable. I love it. My work is still shifting a little bit. I wish it were maybe a little bit heavier. Try putting it in front. So these are pretty small taps overall. I'm not trying to put a lot of force behind this. But bit by bit, it is, the tap from the hammer is what is scooting the tool along as I work. Okay. Just trying to keep my work area moist with this sponge. Bob Ross, Loaderbot quoting Bob Ross saying, "Be the devil out of it." That's right. That's what we're up to today. Oh, I love this song. All right, and that does it for that line. Now that I have my autofocus, I'm just going to abuse it. You can really see the difference here. What you're looking at is obviously a darker color because of the water, but it's also a shadow that's been created by this beveling tool. And that's what I was talking about when I was talking about creating different levels here, is I want this center section to look like it's inset, and hopefully this beveling is going to accomplish that for me. What angle do I want to come at this from? I'm going to start at the center and work my way out. gotta be really careful when you get into the corners, but if you approach it just the right way, you won't undo your previous work. Hopefully. Thanks, Kitten, for pimping my website out. Also, Old Mandarin, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our leather crafting stream. Starting to find my groove here. I've been super lazy today, so I'm glad that I did force myself to do a stream and get some human interaction also. Safer Seraphim says, the tiny anvil is needed to put on some weight. Yes. Tiny anvil, I wish tiny anvil were slightly less tiny and slightly heavier to do its job a little bit better. But it is working for me. I'm just gonna drench this other section and keep going. No. The side is I've got it on like the flatter side so that it doesn't create any impressions in the leather itself. Okay, yeah, that went really nicely. Just got it right up into the corner. Let's see. Modest Tomato asking, any video game cosplays in the future? Yeah, most of my cosplays are from video games. If you look at my website, which Kitten has linked to, you can see that under the costume section, video games is my biggest category for what I've done in the past. My last costume was Zelda. Before that, I have a number of other video game costumes. Luca from Chrono Trigger, Samus. Let's see. As for future cosplays go, I try not to announce things in the future so that I don't end up making empty promises. So like, I generally am committed to one costume at a time. So right now it's Celica. Whatever I work on next, you know, I have some ideas, but I don't want to talk about them too much because then it could get, I don't know. I don't want to promise things or make people expect things that ultimately don't happen because my mind is always changing. So let's just say that I have several video game projects on the horizon, and I have ideas for video game costumes that I want to make, but I haven't committed yet, and I won't commit until I am ready to start working on them. That's right, the tiny anvil is doing its best. It's trying so hard. It's struggling. Alright, continuing with this, we're almost all the way around. I'm going to add a little bit more water to this section. And once again, starting on the outside. Alright, let's see how it looks. There it is. Now I'm going to do a little bit more to this piece overall to smooth it out a little bit and just add a little bit more to it, but yeah, I'm happy with how this is looking so far. Is that going to be fine? I think this is going to be fine. I'm going to do a little bit of beveling. This is the exact same tool, just smaller. I'm going to do a little bit of beveling to these little curly end cuts that I made. Oh, I love this song so much. It's a good song. Jex, thank you for the follow. Let's see. This is not the Talking Boobies cosplay, Celica. Let's see. Hey, it's Char's asking, what are you going to use for the circle pieces on the chest plate? That is going to be a separate piece that hopefully we'll pattern today. But basically, the circle pieces that are like on the front and center, like that are in like the shoulder kind of joint, those are going to be a part of the shoulder piece that's coming around her shoulders right there. My finger is like trying to point to it. So here we go. We've got, this has actually gotten a lot of depth comparatively. So this is the one that is not beveled here, and this is the one that is beveled. If this is focusing, hopefully, you can see what a big difference that made and just making it look more dimensional and round. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Marmaduke has no class. Thank you for the follow. Alright, I'm going to add just a little bit more to that. Yeah. And a little bit more to this side too. Cool. So you can go over these sections that you have tooled multiple times if you want to make them a little bit more dramatic, which I think that is what I'm going to do. It'll also help smooth it out a little bit. So I'm just going over the exact same sections. And that is much smoother this time around. I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of these sides. Hey, Mira Scarlet is here. She's another streamer. She's a lovely girl, and she's a great seamstress. So if you like checking out cosplay streams, check out her stream. Mira, she's really cute. I like her a lot. Hi, Mira. Thanks for coming to my stream. All right. Once again, just going to continue with the same kind of tooling that I have already done over here. It's faster and easier when you're going over it the second time. Whew. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad that you can catch me live too, Mira. It's nice to see you here. All right, and I have not done this side again yet. So one more time. A little bit of water. Water is what helps our leather take on its new shape. Oh, my little anvil isn't even on it this time. right, I'm pretty happy with this. It looks a lot smoother now. It's pretty even on all sides. There's not like any obvious sections that are higher or lower. Modest Tomato, I'm on Jared's auto hosting list now, and he's, as I mentioned, he's out of town right now, so he's not watching this particular stream, but he's usually here. So yeah, this is the Heidi stream. It's not always the Jared stream, but he does stop by occasionally. Awesome. Lucy's also working on her cosplay. She says she's got a muslin mock-up ready for her capes. That's awesome. Oh, thank you, Kitten, for answering these questions. I should be reading all of the answers and responses before I'm responding to them out loud. All right. There's one other tool that I like to use on these like simple beveled sections. This is like a backgrounding tool, but it's got like a repeating pattern that is just like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's a bunch of little indentions, and it looks like almost nothing in particular. I'll show you a section and see if you guys can even see it at all from where you are. But I think it adds a nice little bit of detail. It's a... what's the word that I'm trying to think of? It's creating like a dotted background almost. All right. Now, if this camera will refocus on it, the bottom line here has this background tool used on it. Sorry, on the inside of this border, I have used the backgrounding tool, and it just creates kind of a little bit of like shadow and detail to it that it would not have otherwise. So it's just a small thing. But my tooling is already very simple, so whatever I can do to add a little bit more texture and depth to it, I like to do, especially when it's this simple, this easy to do. The shape of this tool, where it's like almost round, but then it's flat on this one side, and that's designed to allow you to get into corners and to move around curved edges. And that's going to help us make our corners a lot more crisp than they would be otherwise. The beveling tool sometimes just like pushes them together so that the same material is like squished back and forth between the two sides, but not actually in a way that looks clean. And it needs a little bit up here. Marmaduke has no class. Well, welcome. I'm glad that you found the stream, and I hope that you find it to be appropriately chill for your chill time. And I'm overlapping this tool and kind of going over the same sections so that it doesn't have lines. Hello, it's Mr. Katy Perry. Thank you for the follow, as well as Blue Fuzziness. Fuzziness, yes. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to our leather crafting stream. So that's really all I had in mind for this tooling. It's very simple, but it does create a sense of separation between the rest of this gold frame and this inner center section that is also going to be painted red. So that's pretty much all I was hoping for out of this. Like I mentioned, this to be connected to the other boob piece. Let me grab it. Here's our other boob piece. For those of you who are just joining us, this is the other part of this breastplate that I've been working on. But there is the boob cups themselves, and then there's also the framework that goes around them. And together they make up the front of this armor that she's wearing here. Let me scroll down my chat. Oh, Loaderbot, go get some sleep. But thanks for coming by. Have a good night. I'll see you later. All right. So these two pieces do need to be connected to each other, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to paint them separately first so that I don't have to worry about masking off the two portions here, because, yeah, this has a little bit of detail painting that will need to be masked off, but it would be a waste of my time to put these together first and then try to paint around the fact that they need to be separate colors. So they're going to get painted first. This white section, this will be white, and then this will be gold with the red in the middle. And I've got my Lumiere paints all picked out for that, and so that's going to have to happen off camera. Like I mentioned when I was doing my other shoe armor, I wanted to get all of the armor to a place where I can paint it and then do all of the painting at once to just streamline the process a little bit. Yes. Okay, Solahika asked a question. Let me go back. Oh, okay. Solahika is asking, what am I planning on using for the white material? For the dress itself, that is all going to be leather, garment leather. It's a white plunge cowhide that I am going to be sewing into a dress. So pretty much all of it will be leather. It's just different types of leather than what I'm currently using here. But I'm pretty excited about how this is looking. I can sort of hold it up to me a little bit. It's not all in one piece yet, but there we go. There's my boobs. They're all ready. Leather boob hype right there. So as far as the streaming progress is concerned, this is about as far as this particular piece is going to get on stream. HT1313, thank you for the follow, as well as Mantaroon and Full Valsen. Thank you all for following. Welcome. So, yeah, the rest of this is going to have to be put together afterwards. I'll paint it first, and then I will glue it together, and then I will stitch it together after it's been glued. So the gluing and the stitching might happen on camera, but not the painting. So next time you see this, it'll be all white and gold and red, hopefully. Hello, Meg Marie Gaming. Welcome to the stream. It's a really chill one today because I am pretty low energy. I've just been like napping with my cat. I've been working on some other stuff, but not Celica, so there wasn't much to show yesterday and all that. All right. So as I promised, I'm going to move on to the back plate next. This is pretty much it for the breastplate. Mad Chaser, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our leather crafting stream. In the past, I have brought my patterns pre-made, but this time I'm going to be making the pattern on stream because I have not prepared anything for this yet. So you get to see a little bit more of that process. And say goodbye to Miss Titties. She's going away. I don't know if we'll see her again on this stream. I'm sure we will. And I have a different mannequin on hand to help us next. So this is my my homemade, like, more accurate to Heidi's body proportions mannequin that I have here. Unfortunately, it's a little bit more cumbersome to be using on stream, but as far as the back piece goes, this is going to be the most useful out of the mannequins that I currently have on hand. And I did have the foresight to prepare some other materials this time, so I'm not wandering around my craft room this time yet. Heaven's not enough. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to our leather crafting stream. So this is just a piece of craft foam. This is the white 3mm that I prefer for patterning. Previously, on other streams, I had ran out of this stuff. But luckily I have more, and so I'm ready to keep going. Now, I'm going to take a really simplistic approach to patterning this. I have some reference images of the back. So I am currently looking at this piece here, which is a pretty simple back piece that connects with straps to the front piece that we've already made. So at the very least, today I want an outline of what that's going to be, and then I'll take a look at some of the details a little bit later. And then if I could get to a point where I'm also doing that shoulder piece, that would be really helpful. But for now, let me just grab some pins and some regular scissors. And we'll start putting this together. So I'm only going to be doing 1/2 of this pattern. Previously, I have used the duct tape or mailing tape, masking tape actually for me, masking tape method. And this time I'm not doing that. Let's see. It is going to go up pretty high, but it doesn't need to be, it doesn't go like all the way down to the waist. I think that's probably a good amount. I'm going to trim down my foam here and work with about 1/2 of a sheet and make some adjustments from there. This is slightly less than 1/2, but that's fine. So this time I'm just grabbing foam and trimming it down, just kind of starting and using my hands and just going for it. I'm lining this edge up along the center back of my dress form, which is conveniently already marked for me. And I've got it going all the way up to almost the base of my neck. And I can push the pins straight into the form and make sure everything's lined up. And then when I am ready to copy this pattern onto another material, I will just mirror along this line and know that I have a piece that's going to be for both sides. Let me check in back on the chat. Let's see. Everyone's saying goodbye, Miss Titties. Rest well, Miss Titties. Marmaduke has no class is asking, how many mannequins do you have? Let's see. Right now in my room, I have 3 within sight. The one on my arms, 2 like standing dress forms that are like regular standard issue, like cheap dress forms you would buy at Joann's or wherever. I have Miss Titties. I have Miss Titties' white twin. So wait, that's 3 here, 4, 5. And I have 2 other standing dress forms in that room. Plus I have a copy of the lower half of my body that's just an ass and legs. So I have that many. However many that was is as many that I have. Hello, what's up, the glazed donut? Alright, awesome. We're caught up with our questions and stuff. Now I'm starting to like mush this foam over the shape of my body, and I'm going to do that with the help of a heat gun. Fozzie Bear, probably Fozzie Bear. Thank you for the follow. Miss Titties has an evil twin. That's right. Miss Titties does have an evil twin. The other titty mannequin that looks the same is just holding one of my costumes. Oh, hey! Hi, Jared! I think you're cool, too. Jared's stopping by the stream to say hi in the chat. That's so nice of him. Alright, so I'm just kind of molding this against my back. It doesn't have to be anything special. Luckily, this breastplate is, or sorry, this back plate is so simple. It has a little bit of surface detail on it, which I will do along the same lines as what we have already done on the chest plate. But this is going to be a solid piece with the shoulders being separate above it. And I might as well start drawing it. So, I'm looking at this straight on now and trying to determine exactly where my lines are going to intersect. Now, keeping in mind that it's connected to the breastplate, this is the center bust line. So this is a piece of tool tape, this white band. This is tool tape that is attached to my mannequin to let me know where this horizontal line that is directly across the bust. So basically this intersects along the nipples on the front. But now this is the back view, clearly. So with that knowledge, I know that this is going to be like the center point of the front of the breastplate. So this, I don't want it to be like a much lower. Oh, and these are our like back princess seams, more or less. So it's going to be a little bit more distance than that. Maybe about here. I'm not sure if you guys can see my marks, but I'm just starting to sketch. None of this will be like final placement. So this appears to be attached to the cowl at the neck. Maybe with snaps or I don't know, but it apparently is connected in some way to that piece. And other than that, it kind of goes down to the armpit. And that's all there is to it. How do I want to approach that shape? I wonder if that's a look at the no, okay. All right, there's so many layers here. I'm like trying to decipher them still. All right, it looks like this back piece does in fact attach somehow to the cowl that's above it because it's got these like little shoulder flaps. But other than that, it looks like I can actually simplify this line all the way down. Like, have it go to there. That seems like I'm cutting up a lot of material though, even when it's double wide. Although, when you consider the range of motion that you need for your shoulder, maybe that's not too dramatic. All right, let me check back in on my chat. Marmaduke has no class. This is a, I need to link this whole playlist. Thank you for reminding me that. But this is almost all DJ Cutman and other bands from Game Chops. That's the music label. And so yeah, it's a lot of chiptunes, a lot of really good stuff. And DJ Cutman is the artist name to know. Bat Sun Gun has followed, maybe. I don't know how to pronounce names, but thank you for the follow. Nice to see you here. All right. Now looking at this off of the form gives me a little bit more room to play with it. And you guys, I think, can see my lines a little bit better as well. Now, considering the fact that we're only looking at half of it, it is going to be twice as wide as it appears here on this paper. Not paper, but the foam. Because it does look really small, and even given the fact that we're only looking at half of it, I still think it needs to be a little bit wider. Currently, from the top, at the thinnest point, it's about 2 3/4 inches, which even doubled is not a lot. So not quite 3 inches, so not quite 6 inches on both sides. How big do I want it to be? That might actually be fine. I think that for my peace of mind, I'm gonna make it a little bit wider. I can always trim it down, you know, that's not a problem. But if I want it to be bigger, then I have to make a new template. So I'll start with it slightly on the larger side and then move it down from there if necessary. So I'm gonna add basically 3/4 of an inch. Yeah. To one side, which is actually double that amount overall. But I just drew kind of a little casual guideline there. Now getting back out my curved ruler. Just gonna let this line swoop up, and then I'll try to clean up my other lines a little bit in preparation for making them more accurate. That doesn't need to be quite as long either. So I decided that my strap is going to be 1.5 inches wide, and this is actually way too much room for that. Yeah, I just checked really quickly on my other mannequin, sorry, on the breastplate itself, to double check exactly what that 1.5 inch strap is going to look like, and this is just way too much room for a single 1.5 inch strap to like sit nicely. Misty Legend Cos, thank you for the follow. Nice to see other cosplayers joining in with us here. So I'm going to trim this down by at least a good inch or so. Here's a 1/2 inch, more than a 1/2 inch, it's more like 5/8 off of either side. And now this is about 2 inches. Okay. So a 1.5 inch strap is going to fit really nicely there, especially given the fact that it has a 1/4 inch border. I think that's going to be perfect. So I want to move my lines into, sorry, I want to adjust these lines to where they intersect these new points. And this is my cutting point rather than that. And this needs to have more curve too, because this is the original line and it just got really flattened out. I'm gonna try to intersect it. Let's see. I don't want to make this too dramatic. Ooh, spilling my little Q-tip cup. So I wonder if I need to have all of that space still. Well, let's just go for it. I'm just gonna make some decisions on the fly and then check them and then see how I like them. Alright. Now this is a mess, but I know what lines I want to cut on. And now I'm gonna do that. Oh, there goes my tape. It's fine, guys. Oh, I'm making a huge mess. I am a mess today. I'm doing my best. But like I said earlier, I wasn't really feeling this, but I am feeling getting some work done, regardless of what my actual mood is. All right. And I also made this kind of very unscientific line for this collar, but I think I want to move it up a little bit. All right. Okay, let me go back to the chat and see what I have missed. Okay, Batsugun, sorry. Awesome. To Batsugun's question, what material did you use for the Celica breastplate mock-up? Is foam. Both this and the one that I used when I was doing the breastplate itself was both foam. Let's see. Ice Princess, have a good night. Nice to see you here. Indy Hannah Jones, thank you for joining us. Thanks for the follow. Hey Nani asking, what is the thing made of that you're cutting on? The grid. This is a cutting mat. It's a plastic cutting mat. I got this at Joann. It's pretty large. It covers the majority of my table, and we're actually only looking at a very small portion of it. But this is a really nice cutting mat that you can use for pretty much all materials. That's right. I am. This is my fault that I'm constantly just tossing all my garbage right over my shoulder, like creating more chaos. All right. So now looking at this again, I'll bring back my. This one doesn't have a name. This is just the Heidi dress form. Now I'm looking at it on the other side. And now, keeping in mind we're only still looking at half of it. Let's put the other half over here where we started from. You know, that seems appropriate for the size and the shape of this other one. So now I'm going to copy this shape onto a full-size other sheet of foam. I'm gonna mirror it and then look at it again and see if my feelings have changed any. I do think I want to create less of a weird point here. And possibly just add some more room. We'll see. Let me trace it out onto our page and take a good look at it and see how I feel about it. More trash on the floor, more trash over my shoulder. Mira says she does the same thing. Yeah, I've just been trained to just throw my trash on the floor. It's what I've done for years now, and certainly not going to break the habit in this stream. I'm going to draw a vertical guideline using my mat. That's fine. And let's do it along this line here. All right, so now I don't have to just eyeball the placement of this. It can be true to this edge. All right, and here is the, oh, will our camera focus? Will it? There we are. I'm gonna have to figure out how to adjust that setting. Oh no! Oh. Okay, here we are again. And now you can see it again. Hey Nani, are you talking about the cutting mat? Looks like it's thin, like you could cut through it. It's not that thin. It's a good several millimeters thick, like I would say 2 to 3 millimeters thick. So even with like the larger utility knife, this is not something that's gonna just like cut through it like butter. It is resistant to that, hence why it's a cutting mat. Syncognito, thank you for following. Welcome to our leather crafting stream tonight. Yeah, the camera is being super sensitive. All right, let me adjust if I can. I'm gonna go to the properties on this camera. Configure video, maybe. I know how to adjust the white balance. I don't know how to do a lot of other things. Autofocus. All right, I think I turned it off, or I think it should be, let me try putting my hand really close, far away. Okay, I think I got it. That was easy and fast. Sorry guys, sorry that I didn't just investigate that earlier. If you see additional problems with that, or if it's out of focus currently, let me know, but the image is kind of small in my monitor, so it looks fine to me, and if I need to make more adjustments to it, I will. But there we go. Looking at this guy and judging it again off of her breastplate here, it really does look about, we're looking at this, which is so small now, and I turned off the autofocusing, so good luck seeing that. Awesome. Okay, thanks Kitten. Thanks for that positive reinforcement. I appreciate you. Hopefully that solves our issues for tonight. So this line here kind of represents, I think, where this backplate is going to end up intersecting with the cowl above it. So I don't want to cut exactly on this line. I want to add some additional margin so that I have the opportunity to adjust. But other than that, I think that this shape is really good for what we're trying to achieve. Keeping in mind that we're going to have that 1/4 inch line around everything. Man, it's really hard to see the details in this. I might try to blow it up and take another closer look at it. But I think this is pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of that detail for visual reference. I think this bottom line has a double border because some of these are like stacked borders. It's just hard to tell exactly where and how on these tiny ass reference images. But it could be that it just printed in a lower resolution, and perhaps I can see more detail if I look at the digital version. This does not have to be precise because I'm not going to be using this line as a guide. That's just a sketch. It's a sketch for my own benefit. Yes, this is definitely double border at least. So one more border. At least on this bottom side. Okay, and this also has a little nub in the center. What are we gonna call that? It's a little spout. It looks really similar to the one in the front, actually. It's just, yeah, I'm gonna use that as a reference, in fact. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. So once again, we have a little swirly, pretty much. I might make some adjustments to that, but there's a quick representation of what that is going to do for us. Other than that, I do want this to all be one continuous piece, just for my sanity. And so it looks like about 40% of the way down, maybe about there. It has this like swirled line where it intersects with the piece above. And so it creates like, what do you call that? Almost like a bracket shape from the center. I'm going to adjust my shape a little bit. That looks pretty to me, which, as we all know, is the most important thing, is that it's pretty. Is it pretty? Okay, good. Well, then no one will ask questions if it's accurate or not. Honestly, if you can't make something perfect, if you can't make something accurate, if you can't get that exact detail down because, you know, the reference image is blurry or because it's unclear or whatever, as long as you make it pretty, people won't know. You can fake a lot in costuming, let's just say that. It's more important that it looks good on its own. Alright, now let's see if I can erase this foam without losing it, without making a huge, hideous mess. Oh, it doesn't look like it's going to be super effective, but that's fine. Nightbot is a tyrant. Andy Hannah Jones says, Heidi, I was inspired by your videos to watch some other leather crafting videos on YouTube, but I felt immediately intimidated. Many of them involved large machinery and other things I can't hope to access. I appreciate that your videos both show your crafting skill and also make the process seem approachable. That's a very kind comment, Hannah. I'm glad that you took the time to say that. And I'm glad that this is approachable for you, because that is definitely one of my goals, is to talk everything through so that it's accessible to someone who doesn't have any previous experience with leatherwork. That's really what I want to do with these. That said, like, it might, you know, the technical difficulty might go up over time, but yeah, I don't think that there's anything that's really difficult about the kind of leatherwork that I do, and I think that this is something that anyone could do if they wanted to. And obviously there's, you know, a certain material cost that's available, a part of it. But I'm glad that you find this to be accessible in that way. 18 is where it's lined up. As for the other leather crafting videos that you might have watched, like, I have also sat down and tried to watch some leather crafting videos, and I've learned a lot. Oh, that is not straight. Whew, that is not straight at all. I have learned a lot through other creators on YouTube. A lot of them are older guys that do, like, Western style stuff. Whether that's, you know, saddle making or just that Western aesthetic is very, very popular among leather crafters. So that actually goes almost all the way to the top. You could just use that line as a guide. I think it's a shame that more people aren't into leatherwork because it's such a wonderful, versatile material you can do so much with. And, you know, hopefully this will create a new generation of cosplayers that are doing more leatherwork. Alana Star, welcome. Hello to everyone who just showed up. Muffet Pastries just made a cake in the microwave. That is impressive. Hey peeps, hey Carla. So yeah, I'm just kind of chatting about leatherwork in general. Yeah, a lot of the resources that exist on YouTube they're very dense. There's a lot of technical information, and especially if you don't already have a knowledge base, they can be really, really confusing. But I've certainly learned things from old guys on YouTube, but it's a little bit harder to get started that way. A gaming expert, thank you for following, as well as Wakey Legs. Thank you, welcome both. Okay, Mira Scarlet is recommending someone here on Twitch who I have not actually heard of. I'm going to write that name down, but another leathercraft streamer It's GOI Craft. Is that what it is? Is that an acronym, I take it? GOI Craft. I'm gonna look them up later and check it out. Awesome, I'm glad that this is a chill stream for people to come and join in on. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my reference image one last time and check and see if there's any details that I missed, which I think this is pretty much it. There's not a lot to this back plate at all. Let's imagine for a moment that I have a strap already prepared. What would that be like? Moving this aside. This is the machine cut edge, although it is a little bit wavy on its own. Great, awesome job, guys. This is just cheap craft foam. So I am measuring out 1.5 inches, and I'm going to go back with the metal ruler and cut it, because you don't want to cut on a plastic ruler, because you'll be shaving down that edge and it will become less of a true straight line over time. I got it? I got it. Wonderful. Okay. So I am pretty satisfied with the size and shape of my back piece currently. So I will go ahead and cut this out too, and then we can start manipulating it. Well, double checking this. Yeah, that's gonna be good. So this is actually gonna intersect on the bottom underneath. So this will not cover the detail that's on the surface here. It will be placed underneath, and I will probably stitch it. I'll stitch it in the back and give it snaps in the front, because in the front it has some visible hardware, on the back it does not. So it will be stitched together permanently with the stitches running along one of these groove lines so that they are a little bit more discreet. Indy Hannah Jones is mentioning that the pattern making process is really helpful to see. I'm glad that that is helpful. You know, in the past I haven't shown every bit of it, because my pattern making process is the same as I think most cosplayers, and there's already some really wonderful pattern making tutorials, but it's also my goal to show all of the information you need to do it yourself on the stream. Now, you know, practice is also a necessity if you're going to be attempting something like this, but anybody can do it. And luckily all of these streams are archived, so if you just keep watching them over and over again, you'll get enough information. I want to, at the very least, provide enough information that someone can take this and then go continue to study and continue to learn just by doing it on their own. So if any of you guys do get to the point where you're making your own leather items, please let me know. That will make me very happy to hear. And I would love to see what you're working on, so please share. Penguin Cosplay says, anyone else working on anything? Yeah, I want to see what everybody's up to tonight. It's a quiet night for me here. I've been entertaining myself over the past day or two with trying to like upcycle some clothing of mine. Anytime I get bored of my clothes, like I do donate clothes when I know that I'm done with them, but before that, there's always a stage where I'm like looking at it like, okay, well, could I dye this or like change it or make it into something I actually want to wear? I like have a hard time throwing things away because I know that I can continue to change things. So like a lot of my cute tops that I get tired of over time, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna Frankenstein these together and make a new top. I'm gonna Voltron these together, make a top that's more powerful than any of them were originally. Mad Chaser is sewing a blazer. Elana Star is doing a drawing of her friend's character. Paperwork. Nick's Cosplay, hello, haven't seen you here yet, is making a mock-up of a Snow White top. That's awesome. Azure Props is molding her Witchblade gauntlet. That's a really badass looking gauntlet, by the way. April's been working on this really intense sculpt of like the arm from Witchblade, I guess. And I don't know much about Witchblade, but it looks super amazing, and I think it's going to be some sort of prosthetic. So go ahead and tell us more about that if you feel like sharing. Hello, Michelle says, so I'm also trying to do a Celica cosplay, but even looking at the art book diagrams, I can't figure out how to attach the cape to the back. Any suggestions? Well, to be completely honest with you, I have not made that decision for myself yet. Let's take one more look at this and see if we can come up with something. So this is going to be sitting underneath the cowl, which may or may not be separate from the cape itself. I think the way it's designed, or the way that it's drawn, it might indicate that the cape is continuing. The cowl is not necessarily a completely separate piece, but I don't know. It is hard to tell. With that in mind, this is going to snap onto the cowl part, which is what goes around the neck. So there's like a, well, not a cowl is not the name for it. Gorget, we talked about this. It's a gorget. Okay, so she has the gorget that is like just the neck piece. And then the diagrams are sometimes broken up into layers that aren't necessarily completely accurate because it's trying to show you slices. So I'm going to kind of assume that this gorget actually continues down into the rest of the cape because there's no other obvious seam line for the top of that cape. So I am under the impression that that is also a part of this gorget that is not apparent in this image, but there's not much else to do with it. So that's most likely the approach that I'm going to take, where this piece will snap onto the part that's around my neck, and that will be a continuous part of the rest of the cape flowing down behind. So that's going to be the approach that I take. I just made that decision right now, but I'm pretty confident in that, and I will do some experiments along the way and make sure that that's going to work before I'm committed to it, but I think that that is most likely the avenue that I'll go down. Shane Lee Attack, thanks for following. Welcome to our stream here. As your props, talking about her Witchblade, she said it's a shell shock and plasti paste mold. She's going to be casting a dragon skin and airbrushing it. That's cool. So yeah, it's going to be a silicone like prosthetic arm that your arm slips inside of and then painted with airbrushing. That sounds pretty awesome. I can't wait to see that all come together, April. Hello, Michelle saying, haha, my friend was stumped too. He thinks the cape would be too heavy to just hang. That might be an issue, yeah. It's going to take some experimentation for sure. I think the fact that it is like a solid fitted piece around the neck and not just like a single ribbon or whatever is going to help disperse some of that weight, I'm hoping. But you're right, it might get to be a bit heavy. Looking again at this drawing, Purified Tears, thank you for the follow. These shoulder sections are visible on the outside, but the way that they're drawn, it's like it would be underneath the cape. So those do need to be actually attached there. So that means that okay, how about this? The cape itself is married to the back plate. So the back plate and the chest plate together and the strap that's around them is going to be supporting the weight of the cape as well as the gorget. So it'll be distributed between those two sections. And I think with that, that'll be fine. Because like I said, these shoulder straps that are visible on the outside of the back need to be connected. They need to be anchored all the way down to this piece. And the cape is going to be sandwiched in between them. So you have the back plate itself, which is going to be strapped around the bottom and connected to the gorget at the top, with the cape that is going to be like affixed between the visible like shoulder pieces and the back plate. I think that'll be fine. Sorry, I don't know if that whole explanation made sense, but it made sense to me, and I hope that it made sense to you, because that's what I'm gonna attempt. And thank you for the compliment about Mesh My Costume. I'm excited to see it come together too. Okay. Okay. So, oh, I'm gonna go get my brand new stapler that I'm excited about. I was running out of staplers in my previous stream. So I went and got a new, well, I went to go look for staples, and then instead of finding staples, I just bought a new stapler because they weren't selling staples separately, so I was like, fuck it. Let me just get staples where I can. Identical twins rule. Welcome. Hey Nani says, what about a kind of curtain rod behind the backplate? I cannot even begin to envision that. Oh, this is a piece of foam, just like what we're working with, but thicker. So I'm holding on to that. All I will say about that is that I am trying to work within the design, of what's visible. A quote curtain rod would interrupt, it would be not faithful to the design, and I can't envision a scenario in which that would be helpful. Sorry. Alright, yes, new stapler hype. Thank you for caring. Oh, there's of course nothing in this because they make you load your own staples. God damn it, I was tricked. Yeah, okay. So I'm just stapling this to hold it together. Instead of doing stitches, it will be attached with stitches in real life, but this is our mock-up, and so I can get a little bit messy with it. Or at least I usually do. Okay. So now, here we go, this is better for you guys. Now we have the strap that is coming out, and that is, I'm gonna kind of hold it up on the mannequin and see how it looks, and if we can get that, if we can get the chest piece to be kind of visually connected to it, even though it's not going to be actually rigged up. I'm just kind of trying to investigate how these pieces are going to work together, and if I need to change the angles of things or anything like that. We're just investigating right now. Sorry, this isn't super interesting to look at. I just put 3 pins down the center line to hold this on, and then this strap is wrapping around. So this will be attached to the top here as a permanent piece where the cowl is a part of it, with the other bit of the cape hanging down. And it's kind of a damn shame that this has detail on it that's going to be permanently covered by the cape, but it is what it is, and we've just got to be as accurate as we want to be with it, which for me is a lot, unfortunately. I want to be really accurate with it. Alright, laying this on to the tape form. Oh, will you look at that? That actually connects beautifully with where it is going to, there's not a really great way to show this on the stream. Sorry, I'm doing my best, but this is actually in a wonderful position to connect just like that. So this will have snaps. It's going to attach to the top, I believe, because it is visible. Or okay, sorry, it goes underneath, but the snaps are going to be connecting it all the way through. So that's awesome. That's very reassuring to see that our back plate piece lines up exactly where it's supposed to with this front plate. And honestly, that's all I need from this mock-up. I don't need to do any other adjustments to this. I am going to end up wet molding the piece, which I guess we can go ahead and start cutting out right now. I'll have to make some more room on my messy ass table. Man, I feel like I'm moving slowly today, but we're actually getting quite a bit of work done. Awesome, Andrew. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. Thank you guys for answering the questions for me. By the time I read the question, you've already answered it. That's wonderful. We can keep this streamlined so I don't have to keep telling the same stories over and over. I'm going to peel these staples up. I probably could have gotten away with not stapling this, but I was excited about that stapler, okay? Let me toss these somewhere that is not the floor because I will step on them later if I do that. I try to never go barefoot in this room, but sometimes it's like late at night and I don't want to go put shoes on, so. Meep98, thank you for following. Nice to see people here, people coming in. All right, let me grab some leather and then I'm ready to go ahead and start cutting this out today. It's a small thing, but we're making some major progress, so that's exciting. All right. My giant unwieldy piece of leather is slowly shrinking and becoming somewhat easier to manage. And luckily I have a great spot that I can position this where I'm not wasting too much material. Now this does have some marks on it. I can't tell if that's a part of, if that's like a mark that I made accidentally somehow, but it doesn't look like it is any sort of surface impression, and since I'm going to be painting this, it's not going to be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and work with this where I have it. Let's also grab this and this guy, which are going to work as pattern weights for us today. Let's see if I can get any more work out of these pens before I have to throw them away. To answer the questions, sorry, questions about the tape dress form that I made. Yes, I was wearing like an old shirt that I didn't care about, covered myself in tape, well, with a friend's help. My classmate covered me in tape so that shirt is now like form-fitted to my body, completely covered in tape. And then you cut either the side or the back. I'm pretty sure I did the back. Yeah, I think we just did straight up the back and then like shimmy out of it, and then you are left with the shell of your body like a cocoon. Yeah, this pen is just not doing anything. That's okay. It made it through what I really needed it to do, so I'm not mad. I'll just buy another one next time I go in and hope that they actually have it in stock. Alright, so I'm just going to make these marks with a regular ballpoint pen and be very careful with it. Okay, that looks good to me. And now we will begin cutting. Now, I'm pretty sure this blade has been replaced somewhat recently. If I have trouble, I will replace it again. Hey Travelsome, welcome to the chat. Alright, I'm going to start cutting on this side over here so that I can get rid of all of the extra material and not have to deal with it. Starting up here. And I'll just continue this cut all the way to the edge. Oh, and you know what else I'm going to use is my metal ruler. Everything on the side over here is there's just a huge pile of every single material that or every single tool that I've pulled out during the stream is now sitting piled up next to me. And this is why my craft room is in shambles. Is that all the way through? Almost. I think so. Yeah, that's good. Okay. While I'm at it, I will use my... Yeah, I'm just going to have to go on this side. Now, normally when I'm using a ruler, I like to position the ruler in such a way that it is covering the piece I'm going to keep and not the other side, but that would require quite a bit of repositioning to do, so I'm going to be very, very careful and do it the opposite way. That's something to think about when you're making your own cuts. Is to stage the cut in such a way that protects your work. Yeah, Madeline is talking about making a dress form that didn't really work out. Yes, I'm ready to tell you. It's the tape that I use to make mine is called paper tape, and it has several advantages over masking tape or duct tape. So if you're planning to make your own dress form, I highly recommend using paper tape to do it. That is also called gummed paper tape or gummed craft tape. And the reason it's called that is because it's covered in like a dry gum that is not tacky until it makes contact with water, and then it becomes tacky. And you can piece it together in that state, and then once it dries, it's again no longer tacky. And that is super, super useful so that your pins don't get all sticky and nasty. If you do it out of duct tape, you will have a lumpy form that sags over time as the duct tape just sort of like becomes like melty. If you guys have ever had like discovered like some really old duct tape on a thing, you know what I'm talking about, where it just becomes like mushy and like the sticky part of it is just... It just becomes a mess. Peace Dot says, whoa, we're on leather already. Awesome. Yeah, I did the whole pattern and mock-up. Well, the mock-up like was the pattern practically, and now we're already on leather for this piece. This is record timing for me. Okay, got a nice cut. I'm adding some more water so that it will hopefully continue to cut really smoothly. Awesome. There it is. Now I can put this other piece away. Oh, my whole camera is like jiggling because I hit the cord. All right, I'm gonna go put this straight back in the closet where it belongs so that I don't just continue to add to the chaos out here. So I will be back momentarily. All right, we're back. I'm gonna try to, oh, you know what? You know what's gonna help me? Water. I'm gonna try to relax this leather piece so that it's not curled. If you can see how it's been curled up in a roll, and I want it to be flat. And actually I'm going to curve it a little bit in the opposite direction. But just adding a little bit of water to the surface is already relaxing it and relaxing that curve. I'm going to do the same thing for the back before I keep cutting it. Okay, and that's pretty much nice and flat now. That's convenient. I'm also going to move this so I have a little bit more elbow space. Trying to be really careful with my cuts so that I don't move into my piece here. I'm interested in getting another type of leather cutting knife, which is, I forget the name of it, but it's shaped like a fan. And you cut with a pushing motion, I think. I'll need to do some research into it. But basically there's a fancy leather knife I want to get that hopefully we can investigate that in the near future and level up our tool set a little bit. Hey Nani asking, does the leather smell differently when it's wet? Also, does that mean none of these pieces should ever get wet once they're made? I don't think it really smells different when it's wet. Not really. I don't know, maybe to more sensitive nose, but I'm so used to smelling leather that I don't know. Other than that, you do in general not want to let them get wet after you're done wet molding them. Marshall and Faith Soulpire have both followed. Thank you guys so much, and welcome to our leather crafting stream. So yes, after these pieces are made, I want to avoid ever letting them get wet, because that will, if they do get wet, like if I were to get caught in rain or something, they would start to lose their shape a little bit, because the water would activate that property in them where they become malleable. I don't want that. Now, if it's like a completely finished and painted and sealed piece, that is going to help a lot to prevent the water from, you know, soaking into it and creating problems. So in all likelihood, I could, you know, prevent it from becoming a major issue. I can avoid the rain. I can, a little bit of water or a fine mist, let's say, is not going to make it unusable and awful. But in general, I do want to avoid water, yes. Wetting the leather is satisfying to do. The only downside to this is it really dries out your hands working with leather at all. I don't know why, but it just like sucks the moisture out of your hands a little bit. And so that's why I have lotion in my craft room, because my hands are constantly dry from getting dirty and then getting washed and then getting dirty and getting washed again, and from all the leather work. Let's see. ITR is heading out. Thanks for stopping by. Nice to see you here. Oh, and see how nicely this curves? Just having a little bit of water in it. I mean, I did apply it to both sides, but yeah, it's just taking on new shape so easily. I want it flat still. I want it flat for now, and then I'll do my wet molding when I'm ready to get there. But that's just if you're watching this, think about the difference of how it's behaving now and how it looks now compared to when I was cutting it straight off the larger piece and it was curled up and it was a lot stiffer. And just this, even the small amount of water that I've added to it, does a lot for how malleable it is. Oh, I could probably use a new knife blade. This is like starting to drag quite a bit. Oh, but I'm also on my last cut. Whatever, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it, you guys. Once again, I'm sure I can find my screwdriver. I just think it's in this pile of crap on my right. I don't want to dig around for it. Cool. Oh, hey Nani is saying, I was wondering because I thought you did a shoot with Asuna in the snow and I wondered about the pieces. You are actually correct in that the snow did some damage to that costume, but not the way that we were just discussing. So he's referring to a specific photo shoot, or I don't know if you're he or she, sorry. Hey Nani was referring to a specific photo shoot that I did where I was wearing asana at Katsucon and it was snowing. It was like the last day and I got up super early to do a photo shoot before we left so that I could do it in the snow. And obviously snow is frozen water and I was getting snowed on actively. And so it did not actually cause any issues with the shape of the pieces themselves. Like they didn't get so wet that it caused them to lose shape or anything like that. Oh, Mira Scarlett's heading out. Well, thanks. It was nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, back to my story. It wasn't that it had issues with the water reshaping the pieces, but it did reactivate the dye on the red straps. So Asuna's costume includes these red leather straps that are like attached at the front and drape around her arms and connect in the back. And I had made that with a red leather dye, and I had sealed it, or so I thought. I had used a top coat of this leather sheen that I thought was waterproof. It was not. So that was my fault for not knowing my materials well enough. But basically, when that got wet, it reactivated some of the dye, and the dye bled onto the white gloves that I was wearing. So it's actually like very minimal damage, but it was just enough that I'm going to remake those gloves from scratch. And that costume itself had just enough wear and tear that there are like actually several pieces that need to be either remade or like fixed. And that alone is kind of not enough incentive for me to continue wearing that costume. It's, you know, several years old now, and I'd rather devote my time to making something new. So that was the last time that maybe I'll ever wear that costume. I don't know. I could probably patch it up if I really needed to, but it's unfortunate that that happened. And I learned my lesson to use waterproof sealants on my leather pieces. I have a couple other ones that I could have used instead, and I didn't realize it would become an issue, or I would have. Travelsome is asking about this piece. This is the back plate of the armor, which we just patterned out today, and I've already got it like ready to go practically. Now I wish I had I'm gonna have to make a copy of this. I'm gonna do that on some smaller paper. Let me grab one other material and bring it over here, and I'm gonna transfer my details this time a different way. Yeah. So I just grabbed some tracing paper off of a roll that I had. I'm gonna sharpen this up. Madeline says that Asuna was one of the first costumes that they saw of mine. That they were amazed by the detail I put into it. Thank you so much. That was one of my first costumes that I worked really, really hard to make the details as accurate as possible. And while there's certainly some things I would have done differently in retrospect, I was still really proud of what I was able to accomplish with that one. If anybody wants to see any of these costumes, by the way, they are all on my website, atelierheidi.com, which is also linked below, I believe. Or we can, Nightbot will throw it up in the chat. I'm having trouble with my pencil being so sharp that it's just going straight through the paper. So I need to be really careful about marking this line. And in case you were wondering, it was so worth it to wear my Asuna costume in the snow. I have zero regrets with that one. All right, I think I'm gonna continue transferring this. Maybe not right now. I'm gonna keep working on the leather for now. I don't know if I'll add all this surface detail in yet. But there it is. Now I at least have it copied over in case I decide to do anything weird with this piece. Let's check. Alana Star is heading out. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was nice to see you here, and I hope you have a good rest of your night. Okay, thank you, Kitten, with the website, and also Nightbot with the link. Nightbot's not a real person. Kitten's the one doing the work. Let's see. Futile asked, is Tragacanth a water sealer? No, it is not. It's actually not a sealant. It's just the burnishing compound for the edges. Also, Futile's asking what material I used for the mock-up, I believe is what you're asking. This right here is foam. The reason I'm using it is because it is almost the same thickness as my leather. It's just barely thicker, but it is a pretty good representation of the thickness of the leather. So I like to use foam, you know, for that reason. It's relatively cheap, it's easy to work with, and so that's why I use it for my mock-ups. So that way, once I'm ready to cut into my leather, I'm 100% confident that it's going to do what I want it to do. Alright, I've got my edger here. This is my fancy Craft Tool Pro edger that I just got and I tested out in our last stream that I'm so happy with. And I'm going to go ahead and do all of my edges right now. Cannabadaz, thank you for the follow. I have to try to pronounce everyone's names. Oh, this is like butter this time. I've struggled so much with cutting these, or putting these beveled edges on. That's what I'm trying to say. I've struggled so much with putting these beveled edges on with my other cheaper craft tool, and this is just amazing by comparison. So there's me raving about my Tandy tools that I'm not sponsored for. Oh, someone asked if I got my giant matcha drink. Yes, and it's almost gone. Oh god, that is so satisfying, you guys. That is so satisfying. It just runs straight off the edge. It's like butter. Butter smooth. Yeah, the last one was just a constant struggle, and people were always worried that I was going to hit my fingers. I was always worried that I was going to hit my fingers. And this is a joy by comparison. So, for those of you guys who may be new to this, the edging that I'm doing is I'm shaving off the very corner of these cuts to make a beveled edge that I'm going to repeat this on the other side next. And that will help me to have a nice, clean, rounded edge, which I will attend to next. Since this is a small project, I'm actually going to get a lot of this done today, I think. Since it's a single piece, unlike the other things that we've worked on so far in the stream that have multiple pieces. Alley Cat, hello, and thank you for the compliment on my hair. Steakatron is asking, out of curiosity, would you ever hit Gen Con? I would love to go to Gen Con. I have no idea what I would cosplay at Gen Con, if people even cosplay. I mean, I would. But yeah, I know that's a big like board game con, if that's correct. Jared and I have talked about going to that one for sure. I don't think we have any plans this particular year. I couldn't tell you for sure or not. But it is something that is on our radar that we have talked about, that I think some of our friends are going to be there. So I've heard really good things about that con. Oh my gosh, this is just so satisfying. Watching this like peel off compared to all of my previous like struggling with the other edger. Oh, this is just like night and day. See, I don't just suck. My tools are now doing a much better job. Oh, Steakatron says there's a massive cosplay crowd at Gen Con. On the Saturday of the con, they have a cosplay parade. Oh, that sounds fun. It's a 20-minute parade of people, and they were amazing. Yeah, I would love to be a part of that. Still no idea what I would wear there, but I come up with something. And if I'm not on theme, then fuck it. Well, I just got a little overconfident and shaved too far and broke my thread, but that's fine. I can still pick it up. It's on the back. Pixel Zoe, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our leather crafting stream tonight. I'm not sure how long I'm going to be going. Let's see, I started about 5:30, so it's been over 2 hours. I do want to get quite a bit of this done, so let's say that we've got at least another hour at the minimum. Possibly more if I feel up to it, but I need to stop at some point and get some dinner. There we go. Savior X Tanren asking, have I come up for PAX Prime or SoccerCon here in Seattle? I would love to go to SoccerCon. This year I was really jealous of everybody who did get to go because I did not get to go. As for PAX Prime, that one is almost always the same time as DragonCon, and DragonCon is one of my favorite cons. So I'm going to continue to go to DragonCon for the foreseeable future. I'm there almost every year, or every year since I started going, I have been going consistently. And so I don't know if I'll ever make it to PAX Prime. But Jared does go to PAX Prime periodically, just usually without me. Let me grab another one of my tools really quickly. Alright, we're back to this guy. This is the guided edge grooving tool. Until I get the other one sharpened to a degree that I'm satisfied with, I'm going to be continuing to use this one because this one works just fine. I had bought a new one that I was showing off in my last stream and was not super happy with it. But luckily this one is still doing the job. Testing on my test piece to make sure that that distance is the distance that I want. And it is. In fact, it's perfect. So now I can go ahead and start doing the groove for real. Hey, Shar says, just go all night, that's fine. I don't know if I have stamina for that, but I'll do my best. So many opportunities for innuendo right there. Okay, so this has a continuous border all the way around the outside, which makes it really easy to do without questioning myself too much. I'm getting really careful around the corners because you don't want to run too far. Ooh. And when I need to cut my corners, I'm just gonna barely hit it with the X-Acto. There we go. I'm glad I decided to stream today after all. I feel more accomplished than I would have if I were just working on other stuff, but it'll be nice to have another piece of this done as well. Tomorrow we can work on the shoulder pieces, whatever those are. And I think I'm going to do that before I commit to adding any details to the center of this piece, so that way I'm 100% confident with the placement and can make any adjustments before I commit to how it's going to look in this real piece. Tiffy the Squirrel, welcome. Nice to see you here. Blue Madness is asking, do I intend to go for much longer or not? I'm gonna go for at least a while longer. I think I said up to an hour, or at minimum an hour. I think I'm gonna be streaming for about another hour at least. Let's see, it's almost 8 where I am. It's like 10 till 8, so I will say that I will probably be going until at least 9 my time. Yeah. So fear not, there's still plenty of stream left. Jimmy Ragazzino, just stumbled into our stream. Welcome. We're working on some leather work here, and this is going to become the armor that this character here on my reference image is wearing right now. So this is the mock-up. This is the final version of the back piece, and then I have the chest plate over there. Now I'm going to decide what to do next. So I think it's going to be my edges. Like I said, I don't want to put this detail in yet. I need to probably make a cardstock copy of that and save my pattern. So for now, I think I'm going to move on to burnishing the edges, which is what I was also doing last stream on a different piece. And where is my gum trag? Oh, there it is. Just out of reach, of course. Alright, so I am pouring my goop into the cap. I don't need a whole bunch for just this. And now I will be applying it in small sections with this Q-tip. Just to the very edge, and make sure that I'm not over applying it so it doesn't really like get on the surface too much. Here we go. That looks really nice. I like doing this when the leather is also slightly wet. Having the leather be slightly wet is really useful for almost all steps. Futile, yes, this is the tragacanth that I'm applying. Gum trag for short, as we call it usually. So I'm just applying a little bit of gum trag to the edges, and they're going to make this really smooth and polished looking. It sort of becomes this like weird lighter color while it's wet, and then as it's drying it will become darker than the rest of the leather piece. Let's see. Let's see. Someone's asking what have I done so far? Well, in this stream, I finished up a little bit of tooling on the front of that chest plate that I was working on, and now I've moved on to making the back piece, which is going to curve over my back. Over, well, I guess this is the better way to see it. This curves over the back, and the straps are going to go around my arm. So this is kind of plain looking right now, but it's going to have some more detail on it by the time it's done. And right now I'm just focused on burnishing these edges. Futile said that they've seen the people use a Dremel to do the burnishing. Yeah, I actually have seen my mentor Kathy, who taught me a lot about leatherworking, has a drill press set up that is connected to like a large, I don't know what you would call it, a piece of wood that is similar to this. It's a slicker that has various grooves in it for different sizes. And so that's set up as like a permanent installation where it's just spinning as you press the pedal with your foot, and that makes it really convenient. So you could do the same setup with a Dremel, I would imagine. I don't know which tool or which bit they're using for that. Maybe it's like a polishing bit or something. But, you know, doing it by hand gives me a little bit more control, and I kind of prefer it this way, I think. Ooh, although I am slipping around a little bit. Let's see. Carla Driver's asking, will I come to Anime Expo? Yes, this year I'm going to be at Anime Expo. It's going to be my first Anime Expo, but I will be there this year. Now that I'm local, I don't have a room or anything. I'm just going to like show up because I only live like 30 minutes from the place where it's at. And this is also going to be my first Fanime. I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard so many great things about Fanime. And that is my next con, and I can't wait to be there. Scholar asking, do I keep most of my projects? Yes, I absolutely do. I have a bunch of different costumes now that I collect them, I hold on to them. I don't really sell any of my work usually. So the majority of it is just costume projects that I still wear. I wear them until I can no longer wear them, and then they become display pieces. Yeah, Futile, okay, Futile's saying that they, in order to do this with a Dremel, I would just have to attach one of the slickers to it somehow. That's something I might look into for the future to, like, streamline this stuff, but this is certainly doing the job for now. But thank you for the tip. I will do some research and see if I can find something that's pre-made so I don't have to rig it together myself. And then I would like to continue upgrading my tool set and showing off new ways to do things here on the stream. So thanks for the idea. Muffet Pastries is asking, am I making this for a con or something? Well, this costume I had originally hoped to have finished for Fanime, and as it's going right now, I'm going to have to decide between either just taking my time and not having it done for Fanime and then working on it on stream, or if I want to start working off stream just to get it done in time for Fanime. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but that's a question that I'm probably going to pose in the stream tomorrow and see what the general consensus is. If people find it really, really helpful to see every step of the costume, then I might prioritize that. Amarone and Cheese, thank you for the follow. I usually wear my costumes, for specific cons. I have something planned for that costume, but I don't know. As a crafts person, I find it a lot more satisfying to just work on it steadily over time and not be rushing for a deadline. It's honestly way less fun that way, so we'll see whether I get it done in time or not. Penguin Cosplay asking, do I plan on ever having a meetup at Dragon Con? I kind of tend to think that I don't have enough people interested in meeting me to make that worthwhile. I'm happy to always meet people anywhere I go. As for like an organized event, I don't know that there's a need for that, but I don't know. Maybe over time that could become a thing. I'm gonna try to get Jared to go with me to Dragon Con. We'll see if he does or not. But if I can get him on it, then maybe we'd have a meetup together, and that would be more worthwhile. So I'm kind of going over it again with this stick-shaped one, the wooden one. I'm just trying to get at it from all angles and make sure that it's connecting and smoothing it the way that I want it to. So I have more control with this one. Oh, Muffet Pastry said they would totally come meet me. That's very nice of you. Let's see. Oh, Futile says, can I ask how much for that edger? I just did a quick search and it shows it's $65. Oh, no. They're definitely not that expensive. I don't know where you found it. Go to tandyleather.com. Or no, not tandyleather.com. It is a Tandy Leather website, but it's not tandyleather.com. I think it's tandyleatherfactory.com, or just Google search Tandy Leather and go to their website. That's where I got both of these. They should be under the search term Edge Slickers, I hope, or Edge Slicker, but it's certainly not $65. Oh, Kitten has already beat us to it. She says, look them up on Tandy and they're like $25. I don't even think they're, well, I got them as either part of a kit or just with the elite discount, so it was even less than that. But if you are just going for like the public base price, $25 is probably about right. The Game Bandit, have a good night. Nice to have you here. Penguin Cosplay said that they would like to meet me at a con. That's nice of you. I will try to do a better job of announcing where I am at cons, but usually Dragon Con for me is just like pretty crazy. I guess we can put it that way. Oh no. Sorry that Nightbot got you for the link. If you want to ask Kitten for permission, I think she can hook you up with that, and that will allow you to post a link if you want to. Oh my gosh, Nightbot, that was a horrifying threat. He says, time to redecorate in brain matter gray. Oh my god, he just shared one link. This isn't like, should not be punishable by death. Sorry, Nightbot is so intense. There we go. Thank you, Penguin Cosplay, for posting the link to the Tandy site. Nightbot is so scary. Nightbot is a freaking psycho. Nightbot is the Zodiac killer. Nightbot is just doing his job, but maybe a little bit too aggressively still. Okay, this is coming along really nicely. We've made it almost all the way back up to the top. Ooh, I have to make sure this doesn't get bent up as I'm handling it. Grand Dragon, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our leather crafting stream tonight. So I'm just slathering down this edge. And we're getting close to being done with the burnishing here. Oh, Marco Suega, thank you, welcome. Hello. Nightbot is all like, I will end you, and then 10 seconds later is all like, don't forget to have fun. That's so true. Thank you for putting up with my pushy robot, who's always hawking my wares in the stream and asking for handouts. Heck yeah, Friday night stream, says World of Windana. Haythshar says, Nightbot is an ex-supervillain trying to get his life back on track. You know, that's nice. That's a nice thought, but I think you might be giving Nightbot too much credit with supervillain there. I would say that he's maybe henchman tier, but not supervillain. He's my henchman. I'm the supervillain. You know, I said that I was going to be streaming until like 9, but I'm starting to feel hungry because I did not eat before the stream. I had a really late lunch though, so I'm not like starving. I just need to, you know, prioritize that at some point. So now I'm going to revise my original statement. I will be streaming until about 8:30. So that gives us another 25 minutes or so. Still quite a bit of time to work on stuff, but also letting me get some food a little bit sooner. Now everyone's sharing their Nightbot headcanons. Let's create the lore of the Heidi streams. Tenoquin has followed. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here tonight. I'm just about wrapping up all of this edging, so this should be done really soon. And I can either start tooling a little bit of the surface designs, or what I think I would rather do is look and see what I can do about patterning this shoulder piece, which is going to be the final veg tan leather piece that connects with these other pieces. I still have to do bracers and greaves, but that should be it after this, which is exciting. Insanity Wolf. Eat during the stream. I don't know about that. You do not have to order me a pizza, Char, but thanks for the offer. That's kind of you. I don't want to switch over to social eating. Alright, there we go. So this now has nice, smooth, clean edges. I'm still going to leave it plain for now. And then, like I said, I want to investigate how this shoulder piece is going to intersect with the back plate that I have cut out already before I start doing my final placement for the surface details. So with that in mind, let's go back to our mock-up, and then I'm going to grab the dress form that I had here earlier and start planning exactly how large and how it's all going to connect with these weird like shoulder flap things. And I'm going to take a moment to go grab some more water for myself. Alright, I'm back. I'm back, guys. Oh, I'm grabbing our friend here. This one needs a name. It can't just be mistaped, because that's too boring. It needs to have something, it needs to have more character than that. Now, where did I place this exactly? Good question. I think that's a pretty good placement. Once again, I'm eyeballing this. And pinning it straight through to my guy. Sorry this isn't like on camera. I'll do my best to show it as much of it as I can. But I am constrained a little bit by, you know, my camera setup. That's part of the reason why I haven't done any sewing streams so far, is just the fact that I don't know how I would frame it on camera to make it interesting, because I've got to be moving around so much to do that kind of thing. So that might kind of answer some of my question for me on whether or not, oh, that needs to be closed, on whether or not I'm going to make all of this costume on stream or not. I certainly want to do, you know, the important parts. I want to show you guys enough that you see kind of step by step on how each section comes together. But I may or may not like start doing a little bit more work separately, just so that I can get more done. All right. Let me readjust some things. So for this, well, you can kind of see it in the upper camera. And then you'll see some things over here. So this might be somewhat helpful. Now I'm definitely going to need a full width piece to go around this section. And my reference image. Alright, so I'm grabbing a fresh sheet of foam. And let's determine what the height here needs to be. Well, I would say that looking at the reference image, the distance here is less than the distance of her boobs. So at the very least, I can trim it down based on that height and just kind of get rid of a lot of the excess material. Because I know that at any rate, I do not want to exceed that distance. Which it's more than 6 inches, but I think 6 inches is a really good starting point here. So lining that up with the edge, 6 inches down from there is this line. Ugh, and my guy is like in the way. My guy, that's just what I'm gonna refer to as. It's totally a girl. I'm a girl. Everything's a guy though to me. Or just like, that's just my go-to phrase. Okay. Is that exactly half? I think that's exactly half. Is this a 12-inch? No, it's not exactly half. That's fine. It doesn't need to be exactly half. This is the side I'm keeping, so I'm putting my ruler over it. Oh, and I can make it all the way across in one go. That's convenient. Nope, still attached. Let's do this one more time. This music is so uplifting. It's good energy, but also like chill music. It's right there in the middle. Alright, so now I just have made a slightly narrower strip, which we can now work with. Do I want to grab my other? Yes. So this is not 100% accurate for size, but it's, because this is a slightly smaller version of the breastplate that I made. Let me see what the other part of my part 2 of the mock-up is. That's still around here. It is. So this is a little bit closer to the actual size. It's larger than that one. Yeah, I forgot how much I changed the shape. Okay, so we're gonna use this one instead. And I'm going to just pin this on. With the boob cups, it might be a little bit smaller, like the thickness. Is going to be slightly different, but in terms of just kind of representing the general size and shape of these pieces, this is going to be certainly good enough for our purposes. And I'm just placing them around the perimeter a little bit so that this is anchored and making sure that it is symmetrical to the front or to the center. That part is lined up. Okay, so this is how she's looking. And then the back piece is on the back. And now I can start looking at what is going to make this shoulder correct size and shape. Okay. So as for aligning this, I think that's pretty good. This is a really good length, this piece that I'm working with. Now, let's go into my reference image again. This is not quite all the way into the center, but this will be fine for now. Sorry, I'm just largely talking to myself at this point. If you do have questions about the things that I'm doing, I'll try to answer them as best as I can, but unfortunately this just isn't like a great way to show you all what I'm doing. Let me move a couple of things out of the way, and I think I'm going to lay this down too. Okay, so I have pinned this back piece, or this shoulder piece, onto the back just to kind of temporarily place it. And I know that I want my, this circular section where they connect is going to be placed directly over the princess seam of the bust, which, even though this is not the actual piece, it is going to be approximately in the same place as the princess seam that I've already drawn onto my mannequin. And I also know that I want this to be about 1.5 inches in diameter because I made that decision for myself previously. So I'm going to grab a compass and go from there. Okay, if this is accurate, that should work for what I need. And of course I already pinned it down in a way that makes this impossible to do. This is actually not Miss Titties this time. Yeah, that doesn't really get us any closer to a smooth surface. Yeah, that's actually the radius, not the diameter. There we go. And this is just kind of, maybe I should move it closer to the edge. Or that might be perfectly fine where it is. I guess if I have the space, I should use it. Yeah. I'm gonna redraw that. Sorry, guys. I could take off some of this line. It's just not perfect. So at approximately the same position horizontally, but a little bit closer to the edge of my foam piece here, I'm just going to draw this again. Alright, and I'm satisfied with that enough that I'm going to cut out at least part of the perimeter. So that way the extra foam is not covering up the work that I'm trying to be patterning around. So just like that, I like revealed part of the circle so that I can now place it and see how the rest of it is looking. So like I said, it needs to be positioned approximately right over that princess seam, and I'm gonna put a single pin directly through the center so that it can rotate as I'm working with it, like that. And then once I get it into a position where I know that I want it to be sturdy, I can put in some additional anchoring pins. Okay, so this is still really blocky. Let me go back to the chat here. All right. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see what I'm working on. And for this, I apologize. Maybe I should just save this for off stream. But at the very least, I'm going to put this back up here and start drawing the shoulder shape a little bit. So this rotates on the single pin that I have pushed into it so far. And then beyond that, I'm going to be drawing on the rest of the shape. Now, I want this like line to mimic the line of the boob plate beneath it. Oh, where's that coming from? About there. So this is still just a sketching phase. I'm not going to hold myself to keeping this really, really clean because that will just become frustrating. I'm going to do my best to, you know, only put down lines that I want to keep, but with the knowledge that adjustment is part of the process. So I'm going to cut on this line, and then if I decide I need more material, I am just going to have to do this piece over again. But this is just a mock-up, so even though I want to be as precise as possible and as, you know, take it seriously and make sure that I get the information that I need out of this piece, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now I have to mark where the like quote center point of the shoulder is, and where it is hitting at my side, or where it will be hitting at my side, which I think is about here. And this has like a deep V cut out of it. Mog returns. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to our stream. It's kind of a quiet one tonight. I'm just kind of chilling and trying to pattern out this shoulder piece, this bizarrely shaped part of Celica's costume. So this like swoops upward. Take a step back. I think that trying to hold it in the camera is kind of making it a little bit more difficult for me to see what's going on with it. This doesn't also go up. Okay, that's really not bad. I still think the whole thing is maybe a little bit too thick. We'll see. I'm gonna take a step back and look at it and compare it to my reference image. Okay, not bad. How are we doing on time? Oh wow, it is already 8:30, which is the time I said I was going to be stopping. Well, hold on. Let me check out what's going on here in the chat. Sorry about that, guys. I've been so lost in thought that I haven't been talking too much. All right, let's see. Cryptic Revival. I do have a stream schedule. It's the first image. It's a picture of Celica. I need to probably make that a little bit more obvious. But yes, my streaming schedule, my regular schedule is Wednesdays and Saturdays. And if you look at that image of Celica that's down in my bio below, that does have those dates and times listed. Other than that, I do kind of like surprise bonus streams here and there, which is what this one is. So this was not on my schedule. I'm just doing it anyway because I wanted to get some more progress made on this. So I think that I'm going to be wrapping up for now. I have some more work to do on this pattern, but I think that I just need to have some time to like really focus on it and be drawing it with total concentration, and I don't want to make this stream really boring and silent. So sorry, Neptop, it says that you're not having a great night, and I'm really sorry to have to end the stream as you're getting here. But I hope that your night improves. Oh, and Travel-some now here with the link. Let's see what we've got posted for tonight. Atelier Heidi and her massive matcha. Oh, this one is wonderful. I love it. Sip, sip instead of tap, tap this time. That is really cute. Thank you so much, Travel-some. Let me give you the retweet. And thank you so much for the cute art. Everybody go and check that one out. It's linked in the chat and also now tweeted on the Twitter. So go take a look at tonight's art. Thank you so much, Travel-some. So cute. All right, well, and up top, like I said, I hope that your night improves. And I'm sorry that I have to be ending it right as you're showing up, but I'm hungry. I need to go take care of that. So tomorrow I'm going to be streaming starting at 1 p.m. PST, so that's Pacific time. And I would love to have all of you join me if you are able to, or, you know, whatever. But those are my regular streaming times, Saturdays and Wednesdays, and I'm going to keep that up for now. I may or may not do some additional streams leading into Fanime so that I can, I don't know, it'd be great to get this costume done, but I'm also really, really enjoying our chill stream pacing. So that's something that I'm going to think about. And then if you do come to the stream tomorrow, I probably will throw up a poll for people. Hey, Cryptic Revival, thanks for the follow. So tomorrow I think I am going to throw up a poll during the stream and see what the general consensus is on whether or not people care more about seeing every single step of the process, or whether they're just like, I don't know, whatever, make your things and we'll watch it. And if that's the case, then maybe I will put some extra effort to finishing this for Fanime. But that's what's going on with us for tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I had a great time tonight, and I got a lot of work done, and I'm glad that I did it. So everybody enjoy your evenings, and tomorrow we're going to be continuing progress exactly where we left off. And yeah, we're just going to keep rocking and rolling on Celica. So I will see you all later. Good night, guys.